Hello, whoever's there. I am tapping the screen like a crazy motherfucker because it brings more people here. You can join me in tapping the screen like a crazy motherfucker and get more people here. It's great. Works out for you, works out for me. Hello, YouTube. Hello, TikTok. Uncle Birch coming to you live on YouTube and TikTok. TikTok at Uncle_Birch or Witch School, WITCHSKEWL, and Uncle Birch on YouTube. And hello, all you people jumping in. If I don't know you, tell me where you're from. I always like to hear where people are from. Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans as usual. Sounds like a storm on the horizon, but who knows? It may never get here. Jesus Christ is King. Well, that is fascinating. King of what? And we don't have kings. I'm an America cook-up. Last time we tried to have a king about 4 or 5 years ago. That didn't really work out. Mississippi, hello. California, hello. King of all kings. Well, that's great. Kings don't have kings. The kings of kings are called emperors. So if you're going to throw out the language, I suggest you learn the vernacular. Alabama, hello, how are you? YouTube, where are you people from too? That's great. Yeah, so if you're going to call it the King of all kings, what you meant to say is Jesus Christ is emperor. I'm glad I could help you, and I hope that serves you well in your quest. Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans, where I teach witchcraft for a living, and do not think that Jesus Christ is King of kings. Nor do I think that any Christian on the planet actually worships Christ. I think that the Christianity that Jesus taught died with him on the cross. Hello, YouTube. How the hell are you? Let's see. We got Stone Witch over there and Jody Wales I can see. Over here on TikTok, we got a buttload of people. So tell me where you're from. You're clueless. What you meant was Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. I don't know if you were talking to me or talking to Mr. Christian. Yeah, I don't have a clueless. I don't know if you were talking to me or the Christian guy, but whatever the case, you used improper linguistics. Hello, Evelyn, how are you? Rhode Island, how the hell are you? Evelyn, thank you for telling me where you're from. I'm just over here tapping the screen because it gets more people here. Pittsburgh, hello. Anastasia 10, how are you? Hello, how are you? Follow me if you're not following, share the video if you can, and you can join me by liking the video by tapping the screen like a crazy motherfucker, which I've been doing the entire time that I've been broadcasting here. Illinois, hello. Grand Rising, hello. Trump 2024 was almost as stupid as saying Jesus Christ is King of Kings. Trump will be in prison 2024, so you just enjoy that and have the day you deserve. Over here on YouTube, we got more people joining. Let me see. I can see Navin. Greetings from Trinidad and Tobago. Hello, how the hell are you? East Texas. Jody, how are you? Darren Taylor, how the hell are you? Straight out of Scotland. I know where he's from. Jesus loves you. Always remember that. That's fine, but I don't think Jesus loves you. Every Christian on the planet does not worship Jesus. Jesus's religion died with him on the cross, and none of you people have it. And Christianity has been the fault of the majority of the wars on the planet since the dawn of its existence. So you all are not the good guys, and you don't get to act like it. Hail Satan! Thank you very much. I'll go. I don't believe in Satan, but I'll say hail Satan because it pisses off the right people. Hey Rachel, how the hell are you? Darren's doing good, working on his book, waiting on the next book. Plan to read in the mail. Arriving in the mail. Need to read more. Right on, Darren. We're coming to you live on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. And I'm just over here tapping the screen. So follow if you're not following. Like it if you can like it. Share it if you can share it. Matter of fact, I need to share YouTube over here. Hold on. Share YouTube to Facebook because TikTok fucked up its share button. And you can't share to Facebook anymore. You can share like a blank screen that's not a link to your live. So hold on YouTube. I don't know if this is blanking you out while I'm doing this. There we go. Hello, Lavola. How the hell are you? The evil ones who also serve. Wait. The evil ones who also serve who you do. That's it's a really bad
The evil
sentence.
ones who also serve who you do.
Yeah, that's really a bad way to say that. Really, run your statements through Grammarly or something, man. Thank you for following. Roman Catholics worship the same gods you do. Lucifer. Ooh, y'all is having a little fight over here. That's cool. You can do that. I will need to get your opinion on a theory I've been playing around with. Okay. Somebody friend requested me on Facebook. All right, yeah. So yeah, follow if you're not following. It's Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. I teach witchcraft for a living, and that's what most people tend to want to talk to me about. But we can do whatever you want over here on YouTube, over here on TikTok. You all control the show based on what you ask. Oh, you must be a comedian because you're making me laugh. Okay, cool. As long as I'm making you laugh. But you know, I know professional comedians, so I don't want to call myself a comedian because it takes away from their profession. Yeah, brother, I have a doctorate in anthropology and arcane wisdom. Very cool, very cool. Thank you for following the host. Nice haircut. Thank you. I do it myself because I can't trust anybody with my hair because, witches just can't be trusted. Do you know anything about black magic? Absolutely, but there is no black magic or white magic anymore. It is a very outdated principle. But I know plenty about it. It's just me, or has the energy been off lately? Energy's always shifting back and forth. It's called cycles. Everything has a cycle in our universe. Everything's spinning around and around and around. His witchcraft evil? Question mark. You people really need to go to school, okay? I can't believe the. I mean, it's a fucking text message. You have a couple characters to make your point. Learn how to use the language. Religiousness are the only killers. Absolutely. Even though I don't think religiousness is a word.
Religion.
Yeah,
That's
religion.
what they
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. There was that word. There was that movie, religiousness. A guy that was on HBO did a thing like that.
Never
I
heard
never
of it.
saw it. Thoughts on Kern? I think people are losing their fucking mind. Do you know how many particle accelerators there are on the planet, and how long they've been accelerating particles? There was one, when we were in California, right over in Hayward, fucking biggest, longest building in the fucking country. It was a particle accelerator. They do those experiments all the time. Yeah, they're trying to track the God particle. That's interesting enough, but it's not going to cause a shift in the energy, and some people are just kind of crazy. Thank you for sharing the live. Learn how to speak. Um, uh, yeah, you misspelled it. Yeah, you misspelled speak. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you. The panic about Kern is hilarious. Yeah, I agree. So I'm still tapping the screen here, like the show. And do the whole witchcraft scene. I don't think it's evil, but it would depend on how it's used. Absolutely. It's, as I've often said, it's like electricity. You can heat your house with it, you can cook your food to it, you can strap somebody to a chair with it and end their life. You decide. It's energy, it's a power, it's a natural power floating around the planet. You decide. I would not call myself an atheist, but my beliefs in God tend to run differently than the way most people believe in God. I believe in God, an intelligence, an intelligent design of nature. Are bottle trees legitimate and effective? Um, can be. I thought of doing that here, but those hanging bottles in the trees get water in them, and those become mosquito farms around here. So we don't want any standing water for more than a couple days. Thank you for following the host. Please, yeah, follow if you can. If you're not following, share the live if you can share the live. Tap the screen like a crazy motherfucker like I'm doing right now. That helps get more people here. Can magic really be weaponized? Yes, people have been hexing forever, and historically, every ruler up to the modern times, that has ever ruled in any country on earth has had a court magician, including and specifically all of the countries that ever made magic against the law or witchcraft against the law. Every one of those rulers had a court magician, and they just wanted to be the only people doing it. Even in the Bible, even King Saul in the Bible, allegedly he was hunting witches, but he knew right where the wise old woman of Endor was, and he wasn't hunting her. And when he needed her help, he went right over to see her, and she helped, and she did what his priests could not do. How else did Trump win? Russia? The only question that wasn't answered in the Russia investigation was not whether or not Russia helped Trump win. It was whether or not Trump's campaign colluded with Russia. And then they blocked everything. They intimidated witnesses. They fired people doing the investigations. They did every dirty trick they could. But one thing was definitely proven. Russia got Trump the election. The only thing that wasn't proven is whether or not Trump's campaign colluded. But, plenty of times the Christians like say, well, God chose Trump. It's like, well, yeah, God chose Trump to be a one-term fucking loser. And then I guess God chose Biden. And before that, he chose Obama for 2 terms. So, I don't know, it says something about God or says something about Trump. All U.S. presidents have had access to psychic mediums. Yeah, even the Reagans had an astrologer.
They didn't do anything until they talked to their astrologer.
Anything, yeah. And I'm not even really okay. I mean, it's not really a religion, but kind of getting close to that separation of church and state thing. I don't really want the country ruled off of what somebody's astrologer had to say. There's some hokey fucking astrologers out there. Uncle Birch come to you live from New Orleans. My next class starts August 1st, so we're halfway there. Right under my profile, if you're on TikTok, my link tree has a thing called classes that leads you over to my Gumroad site. The class will not appear until August 1st, and it will say August 1st, 2022. Also, I've been doing a lot of readings lately. You can get a hold of me at witchschool@gmail.com. That's WITCHSKEWL@gmail.com. Now, over here on YouTube, for the classes, you got to go to gumroad.com/witchschool. WITCHSKEWL. If you want to go over there on YouTube, could put that in the thing. Gumroad.com/witchschool. Just comment that. That'd be great because it's harder for me to do right now. I'm a Christian. I know others might hate on you, but I generally want to tell you that I love you. Well, thank you. That's real Christian. And the thing is that you may not understand, witches of my age that have studied the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, realize that Jesus was one of us, not one of them. Jesus was a conjurer, a miracle worker, a magic user. I too can turn water into wine. I just need a little bit of grapes, a little bit of yeast, in about 2 months. But Jesus was an Essene for part of his life. And if you ever want to look that up and see what the Essenes believed, they believed in a god and a goddess, the powers of Mother Nature. They were pagan. Every police department has a budget for psychics too, but most don't utilize it. Yes, that is true. I was a cop for a few years. I'm an atheist and don't believe in anything. Well, that's, even if I was an atheist, I wouldn't not believe in anything. That seems very depressing. Jesus never existed. He was made up. Probably, but if he existed, he was pagan at the very least. And actually, the ancient Jews were pagan anyway, so whatever. I don't agree with you. Jesus was able to do things because he claimed to be God in human form. Well, that's part of the problem. See, in witchcraft, I learned a long time ago, which you should probably learn, we are all pieces of God manifest here on earth to learn things. It's like NCIS New Orleans, man. Learn things. We are all pieces of God. What do you want to call them? Sons of God, daughters of God, whatever you are. We all are. And one religion claims exclusive right to that. That's wrong. I'm not sure about that. I think Jesus would have been a real, may have been a real person. It was wrongly depicted. Yeah, we don't know. We do not know. It's likely, but what we do know of the story, at least, there was a large portion of his life where he was an Essene, and the Essenes were pagan. He would have taken those beliefs with him. He never renounced the Essenes, for instance. No, we aren't, because we'd be perfect. No, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. We would not be perfect. That's the entire scheme that we were taught as witches. God is perfect, goddess, whatever you want to call it. We are pieces. We're like a dog grows into an adult dog. A puppy grows into an adult dog. The puppy becomes what the creator was when it created. So the dog was perfect for a dog. The puppy becomes perfect and becomes the dog. That is our job here, to reach perfection. The way we reach perfection is through the process of initiation, to rush the final, so we don't have to be born so many times. The ancients believed that in order to achieve this process of perfection and become like unto the gods, it required being born once under each of the zodiacal signs, provided that we could overcome the weaknesses and acquire the strengths of that sign. The process of initiation was created by magicians to speed up that process. So in one lifetime, if we're really good at it, we can get through maybe 3 zodiacal signs. And once we've completed the entire circle, we are freed from this realm of existence. And maybe we're perfect then, or maybe there's another level to go to. But the idea for us, a long time ago, and a lot of witches don't remember this anymore, to achieve that perfection. And with your God, I can point out imperfections all fucking day long. In the Bible, rape, incest, murder, torture, slaughter, all of these supported by God. Right in the beginning, I am a jealous God. Thou shalt have no others before me. It's like, I'm good enough not to be jealous, and to recognize that jealousy's not okay. Rape's not okay, murder's not okay, molestation's not okay, owning your wife and beating her is not okay. So I am already more perfect than that form of God. Hence, that form of God is not a God, because it should be perfect, and I should never be able to outdo that creator from this point of being the creation. If the creation can outdo the creator easily like that, like I just explained it in like 30 fucking seconds right there, that's not a God. That thing, writing your Bible and running those people around, that was not a God. I am better than that creature, whatever it is, and I should not be. I should not be able to be better than God in this incarnation. That's the problem. What is good? There needs to be an objective view of good, if it exists at all. Well, harming others should be bad. All those things that I just named that Jehovah supports, those should be bad things that we should recognize as bad. What you're talking about is that all the people that do bad things think they were doing good things. Hitler thought he was doing good things for his own people. We would disagree. Most of us. God doesn't. No, the God in the Bible condones those things. Okay? Read your Bible. And guess what else? Abortion. That God condones abortion and teaches priests how to perform it, but it's on condition that the husband has asked for the abortion. You're welcome, Lobola. He doesn't support it. It's a story of documented. Well, no, I don't support it. It's, their story that they try and tell us is the Word of God. The Word of God should be perfect. If the word of God can be proven imperfect by me, an imperfect being, then it is not the word of God. If I can find discrepancies in the word of God, which I can do all day, every day, it's not the word of God. No one, no, he doesn't know, he doesn't. I know scripture. God closes a cheating wife's womb. That's the, no, no, you're fucking lying. You're fucking lying or you're ignorant. Okay, I will go and I will make a video later and I will post that link. If the husband believes his wife has cheated and she's pregnant, the husband can go to the priest and the priest performs. They don't call it abortion. It's a miscarriage. He causes a miscarriage. He doesn't close the womb. No, no, no. That's an absolute. You're either ignorant or lying. One of the two. I haven't, though. You're talking about a context of claiming it's true. Yeah. I've read it. That's kind of the problem with y'all. You know, if you want to come out here and play, witches of my generation know your Bible better than you do, because it's not the book you think it is. It's a book written in metaphor. Everything in the book is a symbol for something else, and witches are taught to read in symbols, think in symbols. Everything in our universe is symbolic to something else, and the entire Bible is. All of the main characters in the Bible were planets and or stars. If you put them back into the context of planets and or stars, you get a very different story. Like the three wise men were the three stars in Orion's belt. The three stars in Orion's belt line up between what would be the legs of the constellation Virgo, which translates into virgin. And that heralds the winter solstice coming, which was the date associated with the birth of God since the dawn of time, that the Christians then came along later and superimposed their Jesus onto a previously existing story that was a pagan story. So there's that. So I know that Cain slaying his brother Abel was a story of two planets. That I know that Cain was on an elliptical orbit and swung in, and in the old text slayed his brother Abel, striking the planet Abel and turning it into an asteroid field, and then flinging itself off back into its elliptical orbit, and we have not seen it since. Right where that was said to happen by the ancient Sumerians, well, we happen to have an asteroid belt that the Sumerians should not have known about. They did not have telescopes. It's funny, my neighbor tried to give me a Bible and said it was a love story. But it's a fucking horror story, man. The Bible said the stars are meant to tell the seasons and times. That is true, but that is a previously existing art form that's thousands of years older than the Bible or the people that wrote it. So nothing original really in the Bible. The Great Flood and all the main stories in the Bible were told by other people way before the Bible ever existed. It's an amalgamation of it's a bunch of old stories thrown in a fucking blender, put into one book, and then said this is the word of God. Cain was giving half-heart worship and gave us, but Cain was a planet. Cain was a planet. Lucifer was a planet. They used to think Lucifer was a star, but it turns out Lucifer was the morning star, was actually Venus. So everybody, all the main characters, Jesus was the sun. They superimposed Jesus onto the old Sun King model, and then he did everything that the old Sun Kings used to do. And again, the Sun King's pagan. So you came to the wrong place, you showed up at the wrong party, and you're messing with the wrong fucking witch. Yeah, they might have just had their first beer, huh? Astrology is nothing new. Also many other religions as well. Absolutely. And really, you put the Bible back into the context it was meant to be read in, the metaphor, and put the characters back into their planetary forms, and then you do find some accuracy. The Bible was a calendar. It was an astrological calendar of world history. but we're not looking at those histories. Like when the fall of Lucifer happened, that would have been, in astrological terms, a retrograde period of Venus, because it looks like it goes backwards, right? And then Lucifer fell and 72 angels fell too. So there was a time in ancient history when Venus went retrograde and there was a meteor storm of 72 meteors. That's what they're talking about, and nobody's looking at that. We can look up when that happened with software right now and find out what they were referring to, but nobody's looking for that. They're all on this tale about a fallen angel crap. If you really look at Christianity, their gods are Roman and Sumerian. Well, true mostly, but the Romans did eventually adopt Christianity, so it depends on which period of Rome that we're talking about. And when Rome went back and forth, and each time the pagans tried to slaughter the Christians tried to slaughter the pagans, it went back and forth, and then eventually Christianity stuck. Because if Christianity is true, the devil had a cloud of truth. Well, exactly, so that's the Bible. The Bible is what causes confusion. It's a very confusing read for most people, and it contradicts itself at every other page. No, witches are not Satanists, though there are Satanists that call themselves witches. As I've often said, I don't believe in Satan. I believe Satan is more like what witches would call an egregore, an artificially created being which is the reservoir for all of humans' failings, for all of your guilt, for all of your pain. You blame it on Satan. And then that form that didn't previously exist becomes more powerful. Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans, where I guess we're talking about the Bible and shit today. Tap the screen a bunch of times to help like it if you would. It helps bring people here. Share the live if you can. Follow if you're not following, etc., etc. Eventually, the fall of the empire, it's stuck, if I remember rightly. Well, near the fall of the empire for close to 1,000 years. So, but that's in the terms of the stretch of the Roman Empire, which is thousands of fucking years. So, most of the good parts, gov and churches hid these parts. Well, yeah. See, we've got this Christian nationalism shit happening here in America now. I mean, even though it's absolutely against the Constitution, these people want the church to rule. Now, our founding fathers had their problems. They had slaves, even though they said all men are created equal, blah, blah, blah. But one thing they got right is the Church of England was the government for a couple hundred years in England. King James rewrote the Bible. The Church of England was created by a king that wanted to divorce his wife and marry his concubine, and the Pope wouldn't let him. So he said, fuck you, Pope, I'm going to create my own damn religion, and we're just not going to be Catholic anymore. It's fuck y'all. And he did. And then we had the religion, the Bible rewritten by a king. And that's where our problems come, because it didn't say thou shalt not suffer a witch to live before that. It said thou shalt not suffer a poisoner to live. They didn't want the church in the government because they came from a place where the church was the government, and it turned out to be kind of bad. It didn't work out well for them. Prove me wrong. Read the Satanic Bible and your teaching, what you're saying in there. I've read it. You better not be talking to me. I was fucking 13 years old first time I read the Satanic Bible. Yeah, you must be talking to somebody else. That ain't gonna work. You're not gonna get me on any biblical things either, and you're not gonna, I'm not gonna trip up on witchcraft either. So I'm sorry, YouTube. I'm just totally neglecting you over here. Let's see. Hola, can't stay long. Okay, hopefully you're still there, Alex. Hi. Tiffany, hello. Numbers 5, 11, and 31. The story of the test of the unfaithful wife and the abortion recipe. Thank you. Numbers 5, 11, line 31. is where abortion is supported and taught by the Bible. Um, you managed to watch the Sacred Sites in Ireland documentary. I have not watched that yet. I've been searching for a translation going back to... okay, all right, I missed a whole lot there. Alex is still there. Hello, Alex. Okay, over here we got all kind of shit going on TikTok. Thank you for following. James I of England, 6th of Scotland, also wrote Demonology, Witchcraft of the Era. Yeah, and he had a court magician. So there's that. Reddit, yes. Okay. Oh, well, thank you for sending me likes. Uncle Birch coming in from New Orleans. It's pretty nice right now. I went out earlier. My car said it was 102 degrees out there. Right now we got a little bit of breeze, a lot of cloud cover, thunder in the distance. It's fucking nice. Can I ask how you got into the witchcraft scene? When I was 9 years old, I had a fever, and my parents were kind of old school Italian, and so they needed to break the fever. That's what you did back then. So they put me in a really hot bath to like drive the fever over its breaking point and then break the fucking fever. That's what you did. I passed out. I passed out right after this thing happened. I closed my eyes, and nose to nose with myself was another version of myself that was way more intense than myself. Looking into my eyes like he had something really important to convey, but said no words. I pass out. I wake up, 9 years old, and I'm Catholic. I try and tell my parents this revelation that I had. And what I was trying to say to my parents was, I am God. You are God. We are pieces of the gods manifest here to have an experience of flesh. 9 years old, of course, I couldn't really say all those words, and all I got out of my mouth was, I am God. And I got the Catholic bitch slap, which teaches all witches what they need to know. STFU. They're not going to get it. Don't try and tell them. They're not going to get it. Just shut up. So I shut up. From 9 years old to 13 years old, I sat with this revelation and what it evolved into. And it evolved into an entire religion, an entire magical system, an entire philosophy of dealing with the world. That when I was 13 years old, I found other people practicing my religion that I thought I had created, and they were witches. And I jumped into my first class. So 9 years old is when it happened. 13 years old is when it formally took the path of witchcraft. James was a weird one as far as kings. Yes, he was very paranoid about the Earl of Buckwald enlisting the Berwick witches to hex him. And that's why he changed that line. But the thing was, he believed that they were trying to hex him and poison him. So why he changed Venefica, poisoner, to Malefica, witch, is questionable. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking with that. It would, seemed like poisoner would have been good enough for him. But prior to that, and even after that, in the Bible, all throughout the Bible, we're called wise. Wise. And I teach this, if you're taking my classes, or you're going to take my next class, August 1st, right down here in my link tree, you go to classes, you can sign up for that. And we teach that in the Bible, the word wise is a code word for magician or witch, and everywhere we see it, it's used. Like I mentioned earlier, the wise old woman of Endor. Well, another version of the Bible will just call her the witch of Endor. So some versions just flip that and just call them witch straight up. But all the way through that, the entire Bible, every time you see the word wise, if you look at the person they're talking about, they're doing the shit that we do. How's Aunt Martha? She's great, asshole. Thanks for asking. For me, it happened when I died in a car accident briefly. Yeah, well then, like around probably 14 years old, when I did I think I overdosed on Heavenly Blue Morning Glories, which was the where they got LSD. Yeah, I died, and then I had another another revelation from that too. Good, like 10 minutes. 10 minutes died on psychedelics. Um, Planning to sign up for your 2 years and 2 days course at some point. Okay, so the bundled course. Yes, so also if you get over there to where my classes are, I also have bundled courses. Some of the millennials and Gen Z, they don't want to take a year and a day to study, like their ancestors did. So you got to give the people what they want. So I also have bundled versions of the same classes. So those you can go over there right now. You can find the full level 1 and the full level 1 and level 2 bundled together. It's a reduced price from the year and a day thing. You can just download it and I don't know, if you're good at your binge watching, man, you can maybe watch 2 years and 2 days worth of witchcraft lessons in, a week or two. I don't know how long it takes, but you could do that. Wendy's over here on YouTube talking about stuff. I'm a good Christian. Who does that? Yeah, that was the other thing. King James was gay. Yes. The bundle just works better for me. Yeah, that's, like I said, you got to give the people what they want, and that's what the people were wanting. And I kept running into people even before TikTok. There was people that I just binge watched your course. Like I have a free, shorter intro course on YouTube, and people, say, I just binge watch you, or I binge watched your entire channel in a month. And it's just like, I got a pretty healthy ego, but that still kind of feels weird. It's like, you want to binge watch me? I'm like, I'm binge watching a comedy or something on Netflix or something like that. But okay, that's what you want. Okay. Hi, Uncle Birch and Aunt Marta. Hi. She said she's great when you asked before. I don't know if you heard it, but hello, the Ashel. How are you? Thank you for following the host. Yeah, follow if you're not following. Like it by tapping the screen a buttload of times like I'm doing right now. Share it if you can share it, etc. Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. Lifelong work to find the best translation of the Bible. Yes, absolutely. Haha, I binge watch you on YouTube. Yeah. Well, I remember when somebody first said that, I was running, my brick and mortar witch store, and somebody, somebody told me about that somebody had a playlist of my videos out there. So when I found that person's playlist, and I just had a computer sitting on one of the counters in my shop, just playing that playlist of my fucking videos, and it's like there were so many people in the shop just standing there and watching, and there was a couple times people wanted to purchase the ingredients that they saw in the spell they saw on YouTube. So it was good for business too. That was never really my motivation at the time, but originally the YouTube channel was just because I got sick of answering the same questions in the witch store all day, and people would come in and I would instruct them on what to do, and they would write it down, and then they would go home and lose their notes, and so eventually I had all of those things on a YouTube channel. I could just go, okay, well, hey, just go over to YouTube, watch this video, you'll be fine. I'll teach you everything you need to know. So that was like I was thinking much too shallow of these things, because that led to this. That led to the correspondence courses. That ultimately leads to me teaching witchcraft for a living full time. And if I hadn't, just done that on YouTube, who knows what I'd be doing now. Nice. That was a smart shop owner. Yeah, that thing was smart. I hope I could sign up for a class. Just need to wait for payday. Yeah. Well, the thing about the year and a day classes, the level 1 or the level 2, the class will appear August 1st, and it will say August 1st, 2022. So you make sure and join the right one. But you can jump in anytime in August, all the way up to the end of August. I've got it set up so if you join late, you get the lessons that came out that month. So, whenever payday is in August, or if you want to do the downloadable version, you just jump over there now. But for the year and a day classes, first or second level, you've got all month to join in or to jump into it. Nice. Well, thank you, thank you. I'm just over here tapping the screen because it's a glitch in their matrix over here at TikTok that I can like myself, and it actually has an effect. Who do you think is the best magician in history? I probably have to say Solomon. There's so much of early witchcraft studies and so much of the practices that we practice are based in Solomon. The athame comes from Solomon, the sword comes from Solomon, the wand comes from Solomon, the bell, the pentacle, all with those names and those configurations. The way of creating holy water comes from Solomon. The Catholic Church still uses that same ritual from Solomon to create their holy water to this day. There's just so much magical foundation. And then even hoodoo. Hoodoo borrows heavy from the keys of Solomon. And they don't think that they're culturally appropriating when they do, but whatever. Thank you for sharing your gifts and time. You are welcome. That's kind of what I do. What about the best witch? Me. Oh no, who's the best witch in history? I'm gonna have to give that some thought. Well, no, I got it. The best witch in history is Diana's daughter, Aradia. That didn't take me long. So, roughly Tuscany, allegedly somewhere around the year 1313. And if legend's correct, it's August 13th, 1313. Which I know witches are into 13, so it could just be, that it sounds almost made up. It's like, well, I don't know. That's just sounds too convenient, but maybe it might turn out to be.
Don't doubt for a minute that she was a Leo.
It might be true. Yeah, she definitely, she should have been a Leo. It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense that she would have been a Leo. Encourage your viewers to share your live. Hey, share the live. I encourage you, share the live. Thank you very much. And over here on YouTube, share the live. I encourage you. Let's see. I don't know that witch queen. What do you think of the coronavax? I think it is the best scientific breakthrough in medicine that has happened in many lifetimes. Yep. The mRNA vaccine is now being looked at. They only have to tweak a little bit of the vaccine to possibly address every known disease to man. So the worst diseases we have take down our T cells and attack our immune system. The mRNA vaccine was found to cause us to produce T cells. And we have nothing to do that.
Allowed to take it if
yeah.
It wasn't mRNA.
Yeah, we have nothing known to man that does that. And also B cells. And B cells are also about our immune system. Both of those are, very important. So like AIDS, your T cell count goes down far enough, you dead. Cancer, T cell count goes down far enough, you dead. We now have something to do that. And I forgot, there was, actually, honey, it was a treatment for MS I heard them talking about with the mRNA vaccine. And of course, they're now looking at it for AIDS, which is actually what they were, the problem people don't understand, the mRNA vaccines have been in use for 20 years. And they have been using them and experimenting for all kinds of things. And when the coronavirus came around, they were working on a treatment for AIDS with that vaccine. And it's the type of vaccine they just tweak a little bit of the fucking DNA molecule in the fucking thing, and you can tweak it for any fucking disease we have. I mean, what we had before that was taking a small dose of the thing that ails you. Live vaccine, all the way back to penicillin. That's what it was. It was a little piece of the thing that would infect you, and that was even. They used to say that's what you eat a small amount of poison oak. I never did this, and I'm not recommending. And gives you an immunity to fucking poison oak. So that's the best we had since the Black Plague, or since after the Black Plague when they discovered fucking penicillin. That's the best idea we had. Then these mRNA things come about. So unless you're really, really scared of science and don't understand science, if you actually just read the data on it, it's fucking brilliant. And the only thing is we need to keep greedy pharmaceutical corporations from owning this shit, because that's why we don't have a cure for AIDS or cancer. There's money in treatment.
Or MS.
Or MS. There's more money in treatment than cure. So, you know, somebody's gonna come along and fucking whip that up and take it off the fucking market or something, some pharmaceutical company. What's something new you're bringing to Hex Fest this year? Do you think I look ahead of time? I don't know. Look at this. Go to hexfest.com and see what I'm teaching. I usually look like maybe a day or so before. I don't need any preparation to teach witchcraft. I will probably write down 5 or 6 talking points and just go. And I'll probably be sitting in this chair right here on this phone. Or no, Hex Fest, I'll be there. I'll be at Hex Fest. But next weekend, I'm at Witches Fest. And so that'll be just like this, be on my phone. I'm teaching 2 classes there. I don't know what I'm teaching there either. I know they're great because I, you know, posted them. I know it's something that nobody else would have the balls to teach. That much is clear. But I hope I've had some sort of an impact. I saw somebody at Witches Fest and somebody at Hex Fest teaching, they didn't call it magical warfare, but they were drawing off of Sun Tzu's Art of War for their classes. And I'm sorry, nobody did that before. Nobody did that before, and I thought I was going to catch a lot of shit when I first came to Hex Fest and taught 3 different classes on magical warfare. I thought I was going to catch shit, but I guess, you know, the world was turning right about then, and now other people teaching that kind of thing too. So the worm has turned. So you just get there, you know, at Hex Fest, it says Michael Correll. If you click on it, it says, you know, also known as Uncle Birch. I think they say Michael Correll at Witches Fest too, but also says Uncle Birch. So, you know, you got to know both of the names, but I don't need any prep. I know people that are getting ready for their classes right now, and they're working on PowerPoints and all this stuff. And I'm not talking shit about any of them, you know, more power to them. But if you spend 46 years doing one thing, spending the majority of your time doing one thing, yeah, okay, some of those years, you know, it was part-time, but focus on that one thing. You're gonna be good at doing that one thing, and the one thing is teaching witchcraft. Been doing that since I was 13 years old, and I've always taught witchcraft regardless what other job I had at the time. I don't need prep work. It's all up here. Only problem I have is sometimes finding the reference where I got this thing right here. I remember a lot of really old shit about witchcraft, but can I remember the book I read that in? Not always. But one time I was on a podcast called Candelo's Corner, and somebody said, you know, does anybody know how to make holy water? And I'd had a few drinks, and I just, and in the back of my mind, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up! You don't know how to make holy water. What are you doing? What are you talking about? But I went back and I listened to the show later, and then I looked it up, and sure enough, the recipe for holy water and the method for making it comes from the Greater Key of Solomon, which was the first book I studied on magic. And the thing that I said was exactly how you make holy water, but that's not that hard. Because if you're just a British traditional witch, the water that you're making on your altar is probably that method. If you find yourself saying something like creature of salt, creature of water, you're probably getting it from the Keys of Solomon. There's specific little quirks in language that you just don't find everywhere else. And if you ever find yourself blessing your water on your altar, saying those words, the method that you're using originally came from Solomon. They've been changed a little bit along the way, but the Gardnerian and British traditional witchcraft method of making the water, blessing the water on your altar is the method for creating holy water. You're just not saying the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, etc. You're blessing it to your gods, your goddesses, that fucking kind of thing. Uncle Birch coming to you live in New Orleans. We're on YouTube and TikTok. I got to look every so often on YouTube because your comments don't stay up. Do witches call down demons and angels? Or is that for ceremonial magic only? Well, witches historically borrowed a lot from ceremonial magicians because the majority of our books were burnt or stolen from the Catholic Church, or stolen by the Catholic Church, put in their vaults. So a lot of reconstruction had to happen by borrowing things from the ceremonial magicians because their books survived. But definitely there's witches out there calling down demons, calling down angels. Even in my class, we start by learning the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, because that is the most common old way that witches used to cast the circle. I expect my students to change that and tweak that as they go and add things to it, whatever. So I want to start them with the oldest model that we have, because I know they're going to add to it and change it, and that's right. You should be doing that. But once they're done, they're still going to have a more intact model of how to cast a circle than if I'd have just, done it from, a Scott Cunningham book or something. I use tap water and a sprinkle of salt, stir it with my finger, but it's never used in words. I mean, that is basically the same method. Stirring a certain way, like first, the salt's put in the water, usually three stirs counterclockwise to banish any impurities. And in the original text says, any impurities from the realms of the world of the phantasm. And then 3 stirs clockwise to invoke. When you banish, you must invoke. When you banish, you must invoke. Remember? LBRP is a perfect starting model. Absolutely. And the original LBRP, different than a lot of the ones we see, there's one movement of banishment before the ritual. You go counterclockwise around the circle and you do a banishing earth pentagram in each quarter. And then you start the big ritual, which is the invoking portion of the circle. So it's like I always say, when you banish, you must invoke. There's a banishing movement, then an invoking movement. And unfortunately, a lot of Wiccans just saw the banishing movement and ran with that. And so you have many forms of Wicca that is based, Wicca is based on paganism, which is, earth worship, that is casting the circle using the banishing earth pentagram in every quarter. Yeah, it's not just what you feel. And intent is not everything. If you do that ritual wrong, then you're calling the forces of everybody that did that ritual for that purpose. So if you're doing it for invoking, but you're doing the banishing movements, all the millions and millions of magicians and witches that have done that movement for banishing, their energy is called forth for your spell. You may think that you're invoking, but you're calling forth the energy of everybody that ever did that thing that way to banish. Those things are important too. I'm not into demons. Why would you call on them? Not judging others, just curious. Some people think that they're going to be able to get a demon to give them things more than they're going to be able to get a god or another spirit to give them things. But the thing with demons, while that may be true, they may give you the things, there's always a price. There's always a price, and you'll agree to it and maybe not think about it later. But if you don't pay the price, then the backup.
Yeah, why else would they give it to you?
Yeah,
in the first place?
it's a quid pro quo, as it were. And if you don't pay the price, well, that's when they come and eat your soul. So that's always kind of in the fine print. And the thing is, for all you kids that want to fuck around with this shit, the demons have a legal department. They have fucking lawyers They write it in a certain legalese that you won't really understand. If you ever watch Shark Tank, watch Mr. Wonderful. He seems to know that legalese. There's a word in perpetuity that he likes to throw out. In perpetuity means forever, beyond death, beyond your lifespan, beyond your next incarnation. Perpetuity is forever. So if you're demon, look really carefully at that contract they put before you, and definitely at least look out for that word in perpetuity. It's like, I mean, you should, like they say, a man that represents himself in court has a fool for a client. If you go up against a demon, you should lawyer up. you need a ceremonial magician that's an expert in that practice to act as your counsel before fucking embarking upon that thing. And in reality, that thing that you're asking for the demon is probably really stupid. Probably like trying to get laid or something like that. Yeah, I know, you kids. Yeah, that's really stupid. And it's in perpetuity, it's going to be stupid. I'd rather go get it myself. Absolutely. Well, that's the thing that a lot of you witches don't understand over here on TikTok. I see a lot of people like threatening other witches with their gods. Ooh, Odin's going to get you. Hecate's going to come get you. I've been at this thing since your parents weren't sperm yet. And no, they aren't. Even if you're a great devotee and you're worshiping them all the time and you're bringing them food and drink and tobacco and sweets, they don't give a fuck. In witchcraft, we are taught, traditional witchcraft, since the 1300s in Tuscany, once a month, and best it be when the moon is full, we can ask for divine intervention. We can do 3 things under that full moon that we are asking the goddess to have an effect on. She doesn't have to do it, but when you do that thing, when you uphold that tradition and show up at the full moon, as witches had done since the dawn of time, she does tend to come through. I remember a full moon ritual we were doing at a beach one time, and somebody, the thing that they wanted to do is there was this boy that they liked, and they wanted the boy to just fucking call him already. The attraction was there, but somehow this kid, he was stalled somehow. He was dragging his feet somehow. Circle goes down. People turn their cell phones back on. Guess who called her during the circle? Right around the peak point of the fucking circle when we were throwing our petitions in the fucking fire. It was the boy. And suddenly he's got the guts to fucking ask her out. So shit can happen immediately. But, going out and asking them to attack your enemies, no, they're not going to do that kind of thing. Witches are taught, we are given the tools to make this shit happen ourselves. And there are rare times that we can ask our gods for their influence. But we are not going to demand that they do all of our shit for us and attack all of our enemies on TikTok. Because guess what? If you got an enemy on TikTok, at the worst, they said something you did not like. And that's the worst it's ever gotten for any of you. And I don't imagine a lot of you are on here that do this kind of thing. I hope not. Because that's just ridiculous shit. I do teach hexing, I do teach combat magic, and the first thing that we teach is, justification. I'm not going to debate your justification. It's not for me to decide, but I would hope, and I know that all of my students are going to make sure they are justified in what they do before they do it. And if you want to go to your fucking gods who've seen everything that has ever happened in the universe and on the planet and say, this guy said I was stupid on TikTok. Hex their womb. No, that's not gonna fucking happen. I ask help from Janice on the first of the month, but only if it's an actual important, not shit like, well, that's good, but Janice is, well, all gods are twofold and goddesses are threefold, but Janice is the chief twofold god, so it's a polarity thing. There's 2 sides of Janus. So probably, could maybe ask for bad things. But no, that sounds good. That sounds good. You know, so it's like once a month asking for help. I mean, that's good. And I always say to, you know, these baby witches, like, if you want to work with a deity, work with them for quite a while before you ever ask them for a favor. It's like, if we just met, don't ask to borrow money. Do you think that's going to go over well? Don't ask me to help you fucking move. Really? We got to get to know each other. We got to develop a certain rapport before any of that ever fucking comes up. Because if you do, right away I'm going, oh no, I'm never fucking talking to that person again. That's motherfucker want to like ride my fucking coattails or something, man. That's somebody who wants something from me. They don't want to be my friend. They want to fucking get something from me. So bye-bye, Felicia. I'm a spiritualist, but I have problems with an evil entity, and it's tough. It definitely can be. Well, spiritualists sometimes don't study enough magic because it's a different kind of tradition than witchcraft. So the second you said it, the thing that came to my mind, which hopefully this is something for you. I said it earlier, I don't know if you're here. When you banish, you must invoke. When you banish, you must invoke. Magic, spirituality, all of it is here on earth, utilizing the laws of nature. The laws of nature say that nature abhors a vacuum. If you take something away from nature and do not put something in its hole, it will come back. If you weed your garden and do not plant plants where those weeds were, you will get those weeds back in that same spot. And you get a little bit of time to put something in there. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you take something away from nature, she will put back what she's used to having there, or you put something there. So if you cleanse your house, put something there. So I'm sure you've done that. I'm sure you're working on cleansing, but when you said that, that's what popped into my mind, and a lot of people don't seem to know that. You can cleanse your house if you don't put, let's say you got evil in there. So you want, positivity, love, prosperity, maybe happiness. If you don't put that back into your space, invoke that, do a magic that calls those energies in there, the thing that you just chased out of your house, gonna be back in a week, maybe 2 weeks. If you go to a practitioner to have a curse removed, and they don't tell you this, either they're ignorant or they're trying to get more money. Because this is a classic. You'll go and you'll get a fucking bath, you'll get a cleansing, you'll get a curse removed, you'll feel better, everything's great. A couple weeks later, everything's shit again. You're calling that person up again. Hey, I need another cleansing. Okay, come on down. Give me more money. No, I'm sorry if I'm stepping on some people's business model, but, that's not nice. If that's your business model, that's just bad, man. That's just fucking with people. He's petty, but it's legitimate reason. I asked for, yes, and that's the thing. Should be legit. Have justification for what you're doing. Saying to somebody on TikTok, calling Hecate to hex somebody on TikTok that said a bad word to you one day. She's gonna go, what? What? Do you realize I've been called by entire armies to conquer their fucking enemies? And you're calling me for shit like this? And you don't want to piss her off. It's been going on for years. So, you put up with enough. You put up with enough. I think. To understand, legalize. Oh, wow. Okay, they're talking about heady things over here on YouTube. You actually invoke God into you before dealing with demons. Yeah, that is true. Call God to watch over you. Yeah, that's good. Hey, Alex. I haven't seen you in a while. How you been? Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. I'm on TikTok on this screen and YouTube on that screen. So if you want to see the live later, you hop over to YouTube and you see the whole damn thing. Here on TikTok, unless I save it and send it over there, TikTok just disappears after I'm not live anymore. Yes. And that's so common on TikTok. We got the, I don't even want to name the names, but we got that person out there that somebody pissed them off, so they are taking credit for cursing the person's womb, for their animal dying, for their child dying, and to magically flex on TikTok, they want to take credit for that thing. And if they, had any influence in that thing, the only thing that ever happened was that person said something to them that they did not like. You know, develop a thick skin. I hate to call people snowflakes, but sometimes it's legit. You're welcome for the info. That's kind of what I do. Ooh, look, we're at 11:11. We have 11 here. We have 11 there. That doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
People get all worked up about 11. I keep
Shut
seeing
your
11.
hole.
I keep seeing 11:11 everywhere. What does it mean? I said, you happen to look at the clock when it's 11:11. That's just your habit.
I saw a bird flying by my window.
Yes.
What does it mean?
What does it mean? I literally get asked those questions all the time. I think the best advice I ever got was from my tata in Palo Mayombe. And he just said, don't be a fanatic. Just don't be a fanatic. Everything's not a mystical experience. No. And you're over here with Uncle Birch. We are not the frou-frou witchcraft here. There, you got no frou-frou, you got no woo-woo, you got no bullshit. I'm not gonna don some mystical fucking motif and talk to you as like some spiritual fucking guru. Magic is as real as fucking that tree right there, man. My spirits walk with me all the time. I just fucking talk to them. I don't have to invoke them or anything. Sometimes they just don't shut the fuck up is part of the problem. But I don't do this whole woo-woo, act like you're more spiritual than thou crap. And I'm sorry if you do that and I'm pissing you off, but I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about me. You can't be mad about me talking about me. Uncle Birch. Talking about witchcraft and stuff. Well, we started talking about Christianity when we started. Now, I'm going to leave for a second and fetch the lady a beverage. So I'm going to let you look at these lovely trees. I'll be right back. Dogs everywhere. Alrighty then. Boom. And I'm back. Let's see. Pretty sensitive, but tough too. Clairaudient as well. My friend is in the magic. Cool. Very cool. Yes, I find most times when I piss people off, it's in print. I just act like an arrogant asshole, and people aren't as pissed off, if I'm just talking to the cameras,
Yeah,
if I type
mean
it.
in print too.
They think what?
I think I mean in print too.
Yeah,
because I can throw it down like no other.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Marta's a linguistical genius over here, a wordsmith, but people evoke a tone of voice in print that doesn't exist. That's typically based on their baggage. Somebody once said something, an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend once said something like that to them one time, and now you're gonna catch all the shit for that because they believe you sounded condescending in text or something like that. The worst one that I get on TikTok I had somebody, I was arguing about that usage of the color red and the fact that nobody can own the color red. It's been used by revolutionary movements for thousands of years. And somebody said, "You're, you're talking over native voices," and I'm like, "I'm in print. Your voice is right here. Here's my response. Here's your response. Here's my response. We're having a disagreement, but talking over, that doesn't happen in print. That can't happen in print. That happens in a room when you raise your voice to the level that the other person cannot be heard speaking." So there are certain games I just will not engage with some people on social media. That's bullshit. There's no talking over anybody in print. They have the absolute ability, unless I delete their comments, I have not talked over them. I'm having a discussion with them. We may agree, we may disagree. I'm not going to just immediately agree if you're native or immediately agree if you're BIPOC. If I disagree with the thing, I'm going to disagree, and it's not going to be because you're native or BIPOC or anything. It's going to be because I disagree with what you said. Period. So, there's just certain PC crap that I'm not going to take, and I'm an OG social justice warrior, and I don't like that word anymore. Because I was literally, in fucking camouflage all fucking day, social justice fucking warrior, up in the trees and shit. I don't like that term, but as a militant anarchist revolutionary, I think some of y'all are way fucking over the top. Nobody here, I'm sure. They're just people out there in social media and shit. So, Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. Follow if you're not following. Share it if you can share it. Like the screen by tapping the screen like a crazy motherfucker. You can go all day. You just keep tapping that screen. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to tap that screen till that little heart gets all the way up as far as it can fucking go. Because it brings more people here. And, it's an exploitation of TikTok's algorithm. But TikTok's algorithm has exploited me too many times, I'm on, I don't know, this would be my 5th account right over here. So I will absolutely take advantage of TikTok anytime I can, because they take advantage of me all the time. I mean, literally, I'm making them money. All y'all. If you're a content creator on TikTok, you're the people making TikTok their money. And they still fuck with you. And take your pages and do all that other kind of crap. But you're the reason people are fucking here. There'll be other people that listen to their content too, but the content is why people are here. I remember Darren over here he always used to talk about that. He'd say it that way. I'm going to provide more content, and it took me years to think of myself as a content provider, but that's basically what it is. It's fucking brain candy or something. 60 seconds of this, 60 seconds of that. I'm into Jesus, but not offended that you're not. Yeah, it's cool. No, I think that...
We don't have a problem with Jesus.
I don't have a problem with Jesus. I have a problem with Christianity. I think that the Christianity that Jesus taught died with him on the cross, and it's unfortunate because it was a good message. And if Jesus existed, he was probably more one of us than one of them. He was pagan. So yeah, I mean, how could you have a problem with Jesus? I mean, if he existed, everything he allegedly taught, that's good shit. It's just, there's no church practicing that anymore. And that's probably part of the problem. Ascended masters. What was I going to say? It was probably part of the problem is, they're still reading the Old Testament and the New Testament. When Jesus
would have been in front of the line for the Black Lives Matter
protest. Absolutely. Jesus was supposed to do away with the Old Testament. The Old Testament was supposed to have been made invalid by the New Testament. But no, that didn't happen. They clung to their old, vengeful, jealous gods. I'm like, how can you be with the vengeful, jealous God that's going to rain fire and brimstone and turn people into pillars of salt for not doing what he told them to do, and Jesus? You know, love your neighbor, love the immigrants, love everybody, love the poor. Two different books, two different religions, should not be together. I think the only reason that they are still together is because Jesus was originally a Jew, and the Old Testament was their original book. But after Jesus was supposed to, that there's a whole point of the New Testament, was it just invalidated the Old Testament. And if you read them side by side, it's just, there's no way those two books belong together. There's no way they belong in the same fucking box with each other. Love the prostitutes, absolutely, absolutely. And they mess with the New Testament too. Yeah, but still, you know, they mess with the Old Testament and the New Testament, but still that general message of Jesus resounds loud and clear within the text. So, you know, I guess he talked over them. Let's see. Hey, Alex. Hey, Raven from Houston. How are you? Oh, Raven Baines. Hey. I was not born into witchcraft. I was born into Catholicism. My path probably started about 9 years old, but I already told that story earlier. So ask me another time and I'll tell you the same damn story again. You know, since you called me pretty cool, I'm going to overlook the grammatical error. But just for your education, it's Y-O-U''R'. Oh, there you go. You are. Yes, thank you. You were fixing it as I was saying it, so that's what I like about you. Preppy. Oh, preppy hippie. Yeah, I've seen you here a few times now. Is preppy still a thing? I remember that. You know, Izod shirts, the little, was it a cardigan? Little sweater they'd tie around there. Remember that?
It was just a sweater that they tied. It wasn't a cardigan.
But I thought there was a specific name for that kind of sweater.
Cardigan has buttons.
Yeah. All right, well, if anybody knows, I thought there was a name for that sweater. But definitely, you know, you had to have the Izod shirt. I guess eventually polo, but Izod first. Izod was what I saw, and then eventually polo became it too, but that was preppy. Not that preppy. Well, I'm trying to picture that. I'm trying to picture a preppy hippie. Maybe it's a play on words, or it's a contradiction thing going on. That's cool. I like that. Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. And yeah, I should tell you, I'll be at Witches Fest next weekend. Okay, it's 15th. 15th is my first class. I'm not going to be in New York, but it is a festival in New York. I'm going to be zooming in. I'll be coming in through a portal. But if you want to come to New Orleans, well, August is the time. And it's hot as fuck. But every place is air conditioned. You bring an umbrella for shade or a parasol or something like that.
Or a hat.
A hat, yeah. Marta's got her little, it's like a personal air conditioner thing. Those are really popular. I bet I see some of those this year.
Shine has one.
Yeah, I think it's the first year they came out, but it's like a little air conditioner goes right around your neck. And it's just like, you get air conditioning everywhere you go. It's fucking great. But August 12th to the 14th here in New Orleans, I'm teaching at Hex Fest. Get over to hexfest.com. There's still tickets available. And this year, they even have day passes. So you can just like come for the day on the day that you want to see some of the presenters that are there. It's a lot cheaper. If you can afford it, you want the full 3 days. You want the riverboat ritual and dinner, beginning of the festival, and you want all of those fucking days. And then the nightlife that goes on, witches just take over the entire French Quarter. All the bars are full of us. And we have a special bar, a speakeasy that a lot of us hang out at.
They're doing the red dress run this year on the same
Oh
day.
yeah, the red dress
on
run
the
used to
same
be
weekend,
there.
but I'm not sure
Yeah.
about this week.
I'm sure they want to bring that back. And the red dress run might be going on. That's something to see.
They fill up the bars too.
Yes. Everybody wears a red dress, guys or girls. They get really fucking drunk and try and run a marathon. Preppy on the outside, like hippie on the inside. All right, right on. But this year's the year to come. I usually only teach one workshop at Hex Fest. but this year I'm teaching 3. I don't remember what I'm teaching, but it's going to be great. I'm sure if I wrote it down to be teaching it, it's going to be great. But get over there to hexfest.com, see what Michael Carell's teaching. They use my legal name, but then you click on it, it says also known as Uncle Birch. But I'm sure it's epic. And I'm sure what I'm teaching at Witches Fest is epic. I think one of the things I'm teaching at Witches Fest is a cultural similarity. And that's an evolving course. There's more in it every time I teach it. But after a lifetime of studying these kind of things, I can't miss the fact that indigenous people and pagan cultures around the entire world came up with drastically similar ideas regarding magic, religion, and spirituality. And they could not have exchanged these ideas. These ideas exist in these cultures before any of the cultures had boats and could travel. Yet, all these ideas, I mean, the biggest one's the circle. Biggest one's the circle. The amount of indigenous and pagan cultures practicing their spirituality or religion in a circle is almost as drastic as in a circle with the 4 cardinal points marked. So there's just countless indigenous and pagan cultures came up with that same idea. A circle marking off north, south, east, and west. What north, south, east, and west means varies slightly, but that thing, that's probably the biggest one on the list. But the more I teach this, the more I find, and the more it validates it for me. You know, if the hoodoo people had a practice that only they practiced and nobody else believed, it would invalidate it for me. But the fact is that they have these practices that so many other people believe, it validates it for me. The fact that the earth taught so many people the same thing makes it more valid for me. So that's one of the things I'm teaching at Witches Fest. I think I got 2 classes there. I don't know what the other one is, but it will be epic. It will. It just will. One of the classes I'm teaching at Hex Fest, Beyond Sex Magic. That also evolves every time I teach it, and the last time I taught it, people were kind of blown away at the levels to which I went with my discussion. Hopefully everybody in the room is going to be 18 or over. Yeah. And they'll check for ID at the door, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Kalek. That's got to be Gaelic. Kalek Cross. How are you? Hi. Where are you from? I don't think I know where you're from. Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans. I'm tapping the screen over here, liking the thing, and it brings more people here. You can join me by tapping the screen like a crazy little motherfucker. Kalek Cross also says, hey, Marta.
Hello.
Always trips me out, you know, sometimes, oh, Ireland. Well, of course you've got a Gaelic name. Yeah, sometimes it trips me out. You know, I run into people that, you know, they know me already because of this shit. You know, because I'm all over the internet doing this kind of thing. They know about me, or I'll try and tell a story, and they've already fucking heard it because it was on the fucking internet. I mean, that's weird for me, but, you know, I'm a media whore and a content provider and all that shit. But then, you know, it happens. Like I was doing a reading the other day, and they said hi to Aunt Marta. And it's like, it's got to be even weirder for her. It's like, she really doesn't know these people, but they know who she is. Maiden name in Irish. Yeah, probably. My mom's maiden name was Leonard, and that's Irish. So that's definitely the Irish branch of my family, but I found Irish in my dad's family tree as well. That's why I'll never go to Ireland. I will join the IRA and never come back. We love Marta. Aw. Marta's feeling the love.
I love you too.
Ooh, McGill. Preppy hippie McGill. Oh, that reminds me. Fucking Better Call Saul's this Sunday. It's almost over. Shit. Damn, it was a good show. Let's see over here on YouTube. I started in a Baptist church, but my grams taught me hoodoo. That's really common. I mean, most hoodoo people tend to lean towards Catholic or Baptist. But I recognize that it's, you know, it's what happened to them during the period of slavery. And they had to adopt the master's religion. But that, whether you want to, like, you know, admit that, you know, white people have suffered that kind of thing too, the witches of Tuscany in 1313 were calling on Diana's daughter to free them from the slavery of the Catholic Church. Ultimately, Italian witchcraft survives as strega. Strega survives by adopting Catholic practices, by calling on saints instead of gods. It was the Catholics that came up with the idea of changing saints into gods, so it made it pretty easy. Same thing happens in Ireland too. You know, in these strong Catholic countries, there's strains of witchcraft that survive by pretending they're Catholic. Eventually, a lot of the hoodoo traditions, they're not pretending anymore. They really believe all that. They've adopted that. And, yeah, kind of a shame, kind of a shame. We use saints in the craft. Well, I often tell this story. When the Catholics came up with the idea of changing gods into saints, where they did a lot of that in Germany, but a lot of the big work was done in Ireland. And they changed the gods into saints to get the pagans to go to the churches. The churches were built on the sites where the sacred groves used to be. The Romans cut them down because that's where the Druids worshipped. So they built the churches, but the people that built the churches were the working class, not the ruling class, and the working class tended to be pagan. So they built into these churches the old pagan gods. We see foliate masks, dudes made of, their faces are made of leaves, Jack of the Green. We see goddesses with their hair is all flowers and fruit and shit, built into the church itself. Very artistic, very cool looking. The pagans being forced to build the church, built the gods into the church knowing they were going to be forced to go to the church. So the Irish were way ahead of that shit. One of the notable exceptions, so the gods got turned into saints. The goddesses typically got turned into demons by the Catholic Church, and the one notable exception that I've ever found, I think there's two actually, Bridget. Saint Bridget has the same holy day as the goddess Bridget. And her worship, the pilgrimage to the hill of Tara, to the hawthorn tree at the top of Tara, and you tear off a little piece of your clothing, put a little prayer into it, tie it on the tree. That's the worship of Saint Bridget. It's the exact same worship for the goddess Bridget. So the goddess Bridget not only got sainthood, but her practices and her holy days stayed exactly the same. So, yay, Bridget. Most people learn the craft in the workhouses. Yes, Green Man faces on churches in England. That happened all, yeah, that happened all over. All the way through France, fucking Germany, everywhere. The ruling class, when Christianity takes power, it is a ruling class religion. The word pagan meant country dweller. The word heathen meant somebody that dwelled on a heath, a hill. In our modern vernacular, pagan meant hick and heathen meant hillbilly. These were classist terms being used by the ruling class that was Christian, but the working class was pagan. So the people that actually did the work, built these churches, were pagan. All the way from fucking Ireland through fucking France, man. It was the same thing everywhere. And it's like, all right, well, hell, shit. We got a job. And they're going to make us go to this church. Let's just fucking build our gods into their fucking church, man. And then they got the saints once we get in there. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. You know, we're out here in the sacred groves getting rained on all the fucking time. Now you got a roof over our head, got nice stained glass fucking windows and shit. That's lovely. But they're still worshiping the old gods, just, you know, disguising them as saints. Voodoo survives the same fucking way. Most forms of voodoo we see are all based on saints, and the saints are representing the Loa. Santeria. Santeria has it in the name, Saint-eria. Santeria is an African traditional religion converted into saint worship, and then they just worship all those saints, but those saints are all representing an orisha. But you ask a practitioner of one of those traditions, they won't tell you that, you know, this saint represents that orisha. They would say this saint is that orisha. They see no separation, even though the picture on the glass candle's got a very white face. Doesn't seem to bother them at all. The Masons were double agents. Well, the Masons were actually stonemasons until they renovated the Temple of Solomon. And something that happened when they were renovating the Temple of Solomon turned them into a mystical order. There's a lot of legends about that they found something buried under the Temple of Solomon when they were doing their work that changed the fucking entire narrative, but we'll probably never know unless we become Masons and, you know, get the 33rd degree secret or some shit. But yeah, before that, they were just chiseling stones and shit. The Ice Princess, hello. I don't think I know where the Ice Princess is from. Always tell me where you're from if I don't know. Uncle Birch Live on YouTube and TikTok. Marry Meet Again. Okay, Alex, you're getting out of there. All right, Alex. That was a few minutes ago, so hopefully you're still here. Bye, Alex. Good to see you. Ada, hello, how are you? Mama Bridget in Voodoo is depicted as Saint Bridget. You know, I said that one time, and who was it? Keith Swift. Tata Keith just fucking turned on me. It's like, the person's name was Bridget, and they were practicing voodoo. And I thought, oh, that's cool, because they've got, you know, Bridget, which rhymes. That's really all I said. But yeah, Mama Bridget is depicted as Saint Bridget. Brigitte. Elon Musk says he's ending his $44 billion attempt to buy Twitter. Oh, fascinating. Have you heard of the sphere that the Pope is hiding that is mystical? Well, if you really ever wanted to learn real old school witchcraft, what you need to do is, you know, move to Italy, get in divinity school, and move up the ranks. And I think when you're like, I think one rank below cardinal, you can go to the Vatican vaults. And there's all the witchcraft books. They didn't burn them. They kept them, and they got quite a lot of them. Have you heard? Okay, you already asked me that. The Pope is hiding a lot in the Vatican. Yes. Well, I remember. Oh God, what was it? Back in my days in Earth First, I ended up in Idaho. I'd hopped a freight train. It's kind of a direct action group. I hopped a freight train not knowing where I was going. We weren't allowed to know where we were going until we got there. So it took a very long time to get to Idaho from California on a fucking freight train. Once I got there, I was informed what the action was that we were there for. So, you know, this is, as a revolutionary Earth Firster, so this is how we had to do things. You had to have secrecy. You couldn't tell anybody what the action was you were going to take until they were in a place where they couldn't call. I mean, we didn't have cell phones, so nobody could call anybody. We're out in the middle of the forest right now. Well, where we were, it was, I think it was called Cove Mallard, and we were blocking a road. And I always remember this one because it was the ballsiest thing I ever saw. These people, I never did this kind of action. These people dug holes deep enough to stand in up to here. And then the holes were filled with cement. They cemented themselves in these fucking holes to block the road. The idea would be when the people came to want to go down the road, you couldn't just run over these people. You had to get them out. And the process of chiseling all of these people out of 5 feet of fucking concrete was rather difficult and would slow the job down. Now I was doing other stuff. I didn't do that kind of action. But I remember, I didn't know the parameters, why we were there, what was going on at all. What was happening is the Catholic Church was stripping this native mountain bare. They were cutting it flat across the top and clear cutting all of the trees on it. And I'm just going, okay, well, fuck. Well, of course, yeah, I'm down for that. We can't let them do that. And then it's the fucking Catholic Church, so I'm more down than I was down when I fucking got here. We can't let the fucking Catholics do that. And I'm just asking somebody, what do they want with that mountain? What's the Vatican doing on that fucking mountain? They're building an observatory. An observatory. One of the biggest in the fucking country. They have one of the biggest fucking telescopes. I mean, we didn't stop them. We slowed them down. It eventually fucking happened. It was always a losing thing being a militant revolutionary. Many victories here and there, but that one, we lost. And the Catholic Church owns one of the largest telescopes on American soil. And it's on a mountain in a place called Cove Mallard in Idaho to this day. Now the question we've got to ask ourselves right about then, the question I was asking myself right about then, what are they looking for? Why does the Catholic Church need big telescopes? What the fuck's up with that? I still don't know. Still don't know. I got some theories though. What about the Terracotta Army in China? Do you think that was, alien or magic? I think that was magic. I think that was magic. They were what we would call servitors. What I would really like to see is what's in, I don't know if they busted any of them open. I would like to see if there's something like what we used to call a fluid condenser inside the Terracotta Warriors. I believe that they were servitors created by that warrior king to defend him in the afterlife. Yeah, and they could be looking for aliens with the telescope. Like I've always said, it's like, I'm open to that. I don't know. In the ancient legends of the tradition of witchcraft I grew up in, there is a god moving around the heavens in a star. And in the text, they refer to it as a ship, a star ship. And the god was the captain. The goddess was called the first mate. So they used, ship language for this thing. And then it was very complicated. It would move to a piece of the heavens, spew out a bunch of planets, put out some life forms on the planets and see what happened. And then alter things as things went along to get life forms to evolve on these various planets. Now, at the time I read that, they said, well, when they finally wrote down those legends, it was, the early 1960s. And, it might have been when, like Star Trek was out or something like that. So it may have been a metaphor that they reinterpreted. They didn't really mean starship. They just meant a star that moves around, and they were using the ship to indicate the movement of the star. Well, as time goes on, and I re-look at that, and we find out more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. We find out all the stuff the Sumerians knew. The Sumerians knew every planet in the solar system, every moon around every planet. They knew what it was made of, what it was roughly going on there. They knew everything. They said that the one of Jupiter's moons had a frozen shell and an ocean under it. I forget which moon that is, but we know that's true now. And we're trying to fucking probe that fucking thing. It's like, yeah, fucking, sure enough, there's a fucking frozen ocean there, or there's an ocean underneath the fucking ice on that fucking moon. But the question is, how the fuck did the Sumerians know that 3,600 years ago? How did they know? If you read the Sumerian tale of the creation of this solar system, it reads like a pinball game of volcanic masses slamming into each other, destroying each other, and eventually, after 1,000 years or so, reaching an equilibrium point where they all get in their own fucking orbits. Europa, thank you very much. That was the moon I was talking about. Eventually, it reaches to where they're all orbiting where they are orbiting now. But they're still volcanic masses. Nothing can survive. You read this story, the Sumerian, and the thing is, the way the Sumerians told the tale is now exactly what science says happened. It's exactly how the solar system would have come together. It's exactly how gravity would have worked. It's exactly how orbits would have worked. It's exactly what would have happened. But if you read the tale, you got to wonder, it's like, well, the Sumerians couldn't have been on Earth. They couldn't have been on any of these fucking planets that shit was happening on. They're watching this from some third person perspective, but every planet on the solar system would have killed you if you were standing on it. So it's like, how do they know that? And where the fuck were they to see this thing go on? The one thing that anybody ever disagreed with the Sumerians, and they tried to, disavow everything that they said, was the Sumerians said that there was water on the moon. And nobody found water on the moon. Well, but I don't know, over 10 years ago now, India went to the moon. Most people didn't even know India had a space program. And they landed by one of the poles on the moon. And sure enough, frozen water on the poles on the moon.
Bye.
Okay. Frozen water on the poles on the moon. So they were right about that one too. And that was like the last thing that anybody could disagree with the Sumerians. But the Sumerians had intimate knowledge of shit that they just should not have from their ancient perspective. Yes, that was just a minute. All right. So I'm gonna have this last smoke, and then I gotta get out of here. I don't know what I was talking about, but I went off about the Sumerians. Well, yeah, and the Ancient Aliens show, I find out so many interesting things about ancient pagan cultures. It's like, even if they're not right, it's like they go to cultures that nobody else even studies. Like the Dogon tribe. The Dogon tribe, I don't even know where they are in Africa, considered an extremely primitive tribe by anthropologists. And they had an extremely complex religion that nobody could figure out. And eventually, science reaches the point where we can see things that we cannot see in space based on the things that we can see. Like, we can look at a star now, and based on the wobble of the star, we can figure out how many planets are around the star and roughly how big they are. If they cross in front of the star, we can even kind of tell you what the makeup of the planet is. Well, when they did that, they discovered that right around the middle star of Orion's belt, there's a planet called Sirius B, or a star called Sirius B, that vibrates at a frequency of light that cannot be seen by the human eye. And then, that knowledge, so they start to track the movements of this star that we cannot see. And somebody figures out, it's like, hey, that Dogon tribe, they've got a religion of dance movements that are depicting the movements of that star perfectly. A star that, until modern science figured out, has been vibrating at the frequency of light that cannot be seen by the human eye. This ancient bush tribe in Africa knew about. And they had an entire religion based on it. And it turned out their entire religion, the movements of that religion, were totally accurate to the movements of that fucking star. That kind of stuff will come up on that Ancient Alien show. Nobody ever talks about shit like that. And that, the 3 stars in Orion's belt, that's what the pyramids are about. That's, a big part of the Egyptian religion. So many traditions. Back to the Bible, The 3 stars in Orion's belt were the 3 wise men. It's a very important star constellation, clearly. Watch that. Group session. Oh, you're going to watch the Ancient Alien show? I mean, it is interesting, but I'm just, I recognize that ancient people would not have the vernacular to describe a transporter beam, let's say. And the way they would describe it is kind of a being coming down on a beam of fucking light, which is all over the damn place. The ancient Indian, the Baba, shit, I don't even remember the name of the book, but in their book of creation, the gods were on floating cities having a battle with each other while the entire world watched. In ancient medieval England, they had a very similar story. These triangles and circles firing these beams of light at each other, having a fucking battle that every primitive being on Earth saw happen and everybody depicted. Now, back to the Sumerians. If the Sumerians were right, the old gods are not our friends. Those old gods are not our friends. According to the Sumerians, we were a genetically manipulated species that was manipulated here to mine gold, to mine mass amounts of gold for the old gods to take back to their planet and fix their atmosphere. Now, there are still theories, good theories to this day, that we just don't have enough gold to do it, of fixing the hole in our ozone layer by sprinkling finely graded gold dust into the atmosphere to reflect the sunlight. But there is not enough gold on the planet to ever fucking do that. There might have been. Might have been if the Sumerians were right, but they took it. All right, y'all. Thanks for coming today. It's been I've done a Friday afternoon before, but you've been a great crowd on both channels. We've been on TikTok and on YouTube. If you want to see, anything you missed in the live on TikTok, go over to my YouTube channel. It'll probably be the first video posted there. It'll probably post in about 20 minutes or so. You can watch the full video over there. But again, follow if you're not following, and I go live pretty fucking often, so hopefully I'll see you all there. But as a reminder, as our ancestors used to say, to remind us about the troubled times through which they came and the breadcrumb trail that they left you to follow in the ways. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again, y'all. Boom, boom.